Oh, hang on. Hello, spooky.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Drone Night. A drone out.
Let's drone night. Let's drone tonight.
Night. The scary version. Episode 479 for
The
Thursday,
ghost
the
got into
31st of
Steven.
October, 2024. On tonight's scary episode, you are joined by a ghoulish and green Stephen and everyone's favourite curry kitten. So scary.
Hello.
He looks exactly the same as normal. And the scariest thing ever, an ESC you cannot upgrade. Jack BL Heli 32.9. We're not sure whether he's got the right connectors, but that's perhaps even scarier. Frank, our overlord and a leader of this band of ghouls. And of course, the scariest thing out there, the drone safety advisor, Cole.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
I feel very overdressed.
I'm wondering how long Jack will keep this on his head. For our audio viewers, Jack is wearing a giant cardboard ESC with tinfoil pads and a bunch of cables dangling from below his chin that preclude him from actually wearing earphones. So we're not entirely sure whether he can hear us, but it looks fantastic.
I done two less on the costume, and then my actual headphones, and then the other two. So that's number one, ESC 1, and then my headphones are 2 and 3, and then there's number 4, and I've got power and ground this side. Yeah, I don't have a Beck. Ooh, spooky.
Uh-oh. Be careful.
And
Step
I
down
need
that voltage.
I need to colour in this this fat. Hang on. Yeah, carry on.
Talk amongst listeners. Jack is attempting to draw on his face and missing only slightly.
And it has to do it backwards too.
I know, it's really hard. I tell you what, man, this art degree.
Okay, we're professionals. We've got this one down.
This art degree is doing overtime right now.
We're so glad that art degree hasn't gone to waste, and you're getting to use your talents.
Yeah, he literally made that in like what 10 minutes? Not even. Yeah.
Shut up, Cole. Whose side are you on?
No, I'm giving.
It was about as long as it took to eat all those Kit Kats, by the looks of it. Then.
Yeah, I know. No, I only eat Kit Kats incorrectly on stream to annoy Curry.
It's because you care.
Well, we don't have. Who has candy though? Who's got chocolate bars and whatnot for Halloween today?
Speaking of Curry, you've been exceedingly busy. On the looks of it,
I got one day of flying in which I took 3 open source FPV HD models and flew them all with varying degrees of success.
You even got them all off the ground, I hear.
They all went off the ground, and some of them returned to ground rather bumpily, but they all flew, which was amazing because the OpenHD thing took me 3 attempts to fly because of various problems, and I figured out it took me about a month and a half to complete a video. If people are saying he doesn't get videos out very regularly, it's because I'm out in the field swearing and shouting at myself and saying, why don't you arm, damn it, and things like that.
If only there was a second person filming you who gets some quality curry behind the scenes of just screaming at foam. Just screaming.
I volunteer, but Curry doesn't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, you're welcome to come down.
He's not allowed to stand in the field. He has to stand on the road and shout.
Now we're live on a podcast. He's like, yeah, sure, you can come around.
You always come around. You're like, when are you coming over? I'm like, oh, well, I have to drive all the way to Brighton. That's a long way.
This fucking thing, man.
It's more annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway,
I found out
got off the ground. That's good.
From my endeavours, I took the Okin2 board as my OpenHD ground station, and I've decided that OpenHD has improved in terms of, I think when I last flew it and had reasonable good go, it was still getting the odd flashy, weird breakup and pixelation, which seems to be better. So I had 2 instances where I first launched, and then I'm flying it, and suddenly it sort of all the screen pauses for about a second or two, and I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But after those 2 goes in the first couple of minutes, it was actually really nice, and I didn't seem to have any of the instances where like the frame got corrupted and there's like bits of color and stuff. It was actually flying pretty nicely. The only thing I would say, and it was quite noticeable, is the frame rate seemed a bit jerky. It's certainly not 60 frames a second. I don't know if it's even 30, but it definitely seemed to. Maybe it's because it was a bit inconsistent that you noticed it. It didn't seem to flow as nicely. So you got little bits where it's a little bit jerky.
A lot of frame skips and drop frames then.
Not according to the stats. The ratio of lost packets was exceedingly low. It just keeps giving, Jack.
What? What have I done?
I think there's a ghost in the system, dude. I think there's a ghost.
It looked like you managed to do an impressively tiny install as well on one of them, right?
Yes. So the 2 OpenHD quads, no, not OpenHD, OpenIPC quads. The Runcam one, which doesn't fit in very easily, is in there, and you can see it's got a great big fan unit
It's a challenge.
and the 2 things,
Huh.
and basically it's just stuffed in there as
It looks
best
like
I
an
can do
early
it.
Pentium. It looks like you've installed an early Pentium processor in the rear.
An
of
early
the quad.
Pentium Pro with bits of wire coming out the outside, and this took a long time to make it work because when I stuffed the wires back in between the boards, it decided to fail and say, I don't like things in between me. Don't do that. And even the power lead, I have to sort of route around it because I can't. So that is tricky. But the results we got from that are really quite nice. The sharpness is really good. But yeah, the little one, this is one of the Emacs OpenIPC boards, which is Whoop size.
Cool.
So you see, we've got this is our
tiny.
all-in-one board at the bottom, and then the Emacs OpenIPC board is this thing here, and these are the 2 weird antennas with it. This one, I haven't flown it for so long. Look, it's got a FreeSky XSR on it. I had to dig out a multi-protocol module, and when I got to the field, I found out my my channel order was wrong. I had to suddenly change that. The only problem with this,
got about 1,500 ELRS modules lying around the room by now.
yeah, but I couldn't. I took so long to get the. I was trying to get telemetry working on these.
enough.
The idea being is that you pass telemetry to OpenIPC. OpenIPC populates the OSD, and I couldn't make that happen. We know that Betaflight has a problem putting out iNav telemetry on 4.5, and I tried other versions. I still couldn't get it working. I didn't know if it was iNav on Betaflight or it's just being rubbish or what. But basically, I'm flying these 2 quads with a completely blank OSD.
Oof.
So it's like, I wonder how my battery's doing. I don't know. Oh, do I have a timer? No, I don't. I'll start counting in my head and that sort of thing to figure out how it was going.
So that the DisplayPort thing is just a dream right now. It's not actually
No,
doing anything.
it's available, but I thought I'll fly it as stock and then I'll go ahead and I'll try and upgrade it for the next video, essentially. So I've still got to edit all these ones to do like the first thing before I go on. And there's 2 things. I happened to talk to Mario FPV, who does obviously a lot on OpenIPC, and I said to him, oh, I thought the Runcam was like really sharp and stuff, but the Emacs thing was a bit soft. And he said, did you apply the, what do you call it, the latest calibration files? And I'm like, no, what are they? Because it's every time I talk to them and say, well, this is a bit crap, he's like, oh, did you do this? I was like, well, no, because no one told me about that and it's not written down anywhere. Apparently there's some files you can do and this will make the camera settings look better. So that's another thing I have to do along with the upgrade. And he said the upgrade actually is much more friendly because you can do it through this. They've got this weird thing they're calling the OpenIPC configurator, which is a very basic little GUI that runs on Windows. What it does behind the scenes is just SSH and SCP files around. And from this, you can apparently do the upgrade, which will do the MSP OSD, but you have to be on Betaflight 451 to get that. So that is something I'll be doing later on. I can
promising.
show you vaguely what the.
But that little
what
one
the
looks
stuff
like that looks like a shortcut to get people into open source VTX, digital VTXs, right? Because it's small enough, you can imagine it selling pretty well.
That looks
So this is
great.
the RunCam, and I have to say this is much worse than it looked, because this is the recording using a Wi-Fi adapter into a tablet, and my tablet is crap, so I didn't fly through that. I flew using the MVR board which I built, and that was getting a silky smooth 60 frames a second. And I was flying this, and I have to say, I think it does grasp better than WalkSnail does. There's no blurry bits, and B, I had to really work hard to figure out is there latency here. And what I would describe it to, if you've got a quad that's a little bit loose, and so when you do the sticks, it sort of goes, yeah, okay, and it takes a little bit. It doesn't feel quite locked in. It felt a bit like that.
But you were flying the RXSR as well, weren't you? So
on this one, no, this is
this is
this is a converted R9 into ERS. This one,
okay,
but it's only running like 100 hertz. It's nothing big. So the RunCam I really liked. I was flying around all over the shop, just doing anything I wanted, and that was absolutely fine.
Whoa, what was that thing there for a sec?
What thing? The only problem is by recording it on the tablet, the tablet went worse in places where it was okay, because
so the tablet's just struggling in general.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so it's taking like 54 milliseconds just to decode H.265 frame. On a proper fast phone, it would take about 9 milliseconds, which is like how slow my tablet is. So on top of that, I'm doing screen recording from that as well, and that's why it was like really stupidly slow. The Emax, let me get that up here. See, we got it. Here we go.
I mean, the picture looks pretty great, man. It looks, and that inverted yaw spin was great as well.
Yeah, it feels like you've got a lot of confidence.
Yeah, after that was my second battery. After the first battery, I'm like, well, this is going really well. I had a couple of, on the first battery, half second, it just froze a second out. Oh, we're okay. But after that point, it was all right. I don't know why I'm getting this in the first few seconds. But I'll show you the Emax, and I'll see if you can see what I mean about the screen. The screen just looked, the focus didn't look right. It just looked a bit
softer.
soft. Yeah, it's just not very sharp. And
although I will, compared to the other one looked like almost like crazy sharp. This one looks more just like neutral, but
maybe it's over sharp. But I definitely preferred the look of the other one over this. But this is like a tiny little camera and sensor, so maybe that's something to do with it. But again, once
magenta kind of vignetting around the corner.
It is a bit around the sides, isn't it? Yeah, although the props are black. I don't quite know why it's coming off that color. Maybe it's the dullness of the lack of sun reflecting from the black.
Everything's a bit red though, isn't it? Like the hedgerows are practically purple.
Yeah, so let's see what happens when we apply this this weird file they're talking about. But the only problem with this, I noticed, because this is quite low power, the VTX in this. So I'm sat there by this bush, and when I dived over the bush to go under the trees on the other side, which I did on the RunCam, it just frozen completely, and it's like dunk, down it went. And in fact, I later, on the third battery, I was doing like this split S, and I'll split over and I'll just come out of it, and I just didn't have enough power. And it could have been because, again, I don't have an OSD which tells me the battery power, so I probably sagged the battery into this ridiculous amount, and it just didn't have enough to come out. And after that, it was soaking wet and refused to turn on anymore until I got home and it dried out. And then
that was going to be my question. With the rough landings, did you suffer any from rough landings on these? Because they both look quite experimental. Like I would, even for the Gen 1, they're like alpha boards or prototypes.
That field, all the way from that gate to where I'm going, it was like this deep in water. So when this went down, and it went basically down splat like that, it was completely soaked. So the quad would power on, but it's like we were getting nothing through the board. So I thought, oh, maybe the board's dead, or maybe it'd be all right when it dries out. And it dried out, and it was fine after that. But the other one was fine. I turned it over one time, but it's a little bit more sort of sheltered. It's not quite as small as the other quad, so it sort of it managed to not get quite as covered, even when it flipped upside down and stuff.
So what's the overall experience? Do you feel it's kind of getting closer to what you'd expect from Walk Snail, or is it still like, you're stranded on a cliff face trying to crawl up it with a fork or something?
Well, I was certainly impressed with the picture quality of the Runcam, and I did a couple of distance tests. So I went to the end of, there's like a field I normally fly from, and it's about 400 meters long, and I was like 100 meters back, so I got about 500 meters. I didn't have any GPS or anything, so I didn't go further because I didn't fancy that much of a walk, and the picture stayed stable all the way through. I got to places where it sort of went a bit fuzzy in the edges and stuff when I was going like behind myself, because one of the problems is, of course, we don't have a goggle module. If I was stood up with like a module on my head, it wouldn't be so bad. My module is literally sat on my bag, which is on the floor. So as soon as I go behind a bush, I'm putting like quite a heavy amount of stuff behind it. So when I was going back through under the trees there, it survived, but it went a bit worse. But yeah, I'm impressed with the flight experience. I didn't expect it to be quite as good on the lag. I don't know if people that are flying through a tablet, and of course, if you put a USB-C hub into a tablet, and then you can take HDMI from there into your goggles, you can fly with it, but you're probably injecting much more latency than you want to. So I had like the best latency. I mean, you can get better with the Redaxa card, but mine felt really good. It felt quite similar to like flying Walk Snail. So the next thing I really want to do is get a proper OSD there, so I actually know what's happening. So that'll be the next thing. As soon as I edit up this stuff, and I've got 2 more videos to edit, I'll be going on and we'll be looking at how to apply these mystery files, what difference it makes, and then how to get the MW OSD stuff on there, so we can actually make it useful.
It sounds like Mavlink can give you some beautiful and very detailed OSD, but at the same time, if you want to just get in the air and fly, it's probably useful having MSP DisplayPort, so it works just like everything else out there. Yeah,
I mean, it would be great if iNav just worked. I was contemplating putting like iNav on here, so Mavlink would work, but I couldn't even find anything for this card. So I was like, oh, I'll just put DisplayPort.
Still got that target problem where you have to jump through a few hoops to get the iNav targets up, and
so yeah, it looks promising. It's certainly I didn't expect it to be quite as good on the latest.
Do you think we're all going to be flying one of these systems like come summer next year? Do you think we're heading towards that, or is it still like watch this space, give it a couple of years, let them produce goggle modules and all that?
They still need to produce a goggle module that will work. They still need a much more of a plug and play thing on the boards. Even in the nicest way of doing a board, you would have to plug it into Ethernet, find out the IP address, and go to this quite janky Windows thing to try and mess with the things. And then you couldn't simply change the channel if someone else was there. You just like, hang on, let me just SSH to my camera and edit some files in Vi so I can change stuff. So right now,
so it's pretty easy to use. Then that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
all the Linux
especially for like
ideal
non computer people.
So you could use Puppet or Ansible maybe to change channel in response to something else. Just to take a lot of Wi-Fi APs out to the field, network everything up. Job's a good one.
Or you could have something if the goggle module basically worked as a little client and just went, okay, go and change your channel to this.
MSP VTX. I mean, it's all there, isn't it?
Yeah. But the question is, will it replace DJI or Walk Snail? And it's like, I was pretty impressed by the picture, but right now, I think your problem is that buying like a Walk Snail VTX isn't that expensive, and you've still got like the goggle experience. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you want walk snail, you have to buy some walk snail goggles. If you want DJI, you have to buy DJI goggles. Why can't I just have a pair of goggles and
Yep.
everything work with just like a goggle module or something, which is
Yeah.
missing at the moment.
And you can
So you
get that
maybe
with
have
Walk Snail, but you'll never be able to get that with DJI. It's just
No.
not interesting.
It is less
But yeah,
dependent on China.
True,
It's not.
except for the parts.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, once the manufacturing's up to speed, there might be quite a diversification. That's kind of what happened with Express LRS. There's, stuff being made in India and all over the places now. It's not just China. But you've got to have that blueprint. You've got to have that known good design that everyone's willing to invest in terms of tooling and setting up the production lines. Otherwise, it's just prototyping, and that's crazy expensive per unit product.
Yeah, certainly Emacs have done a fantastic job on that little board, because that is the first consumer friendly board in terms of size and fitting I've seen. Their other one with the crazy 35mm board, I was trying to fit in a quad, and it's not even both boards. So the camera board is 30.5, and then the Wi-Fi board is 35. So I tried to make an adapter in I did make an adapter and print it out. Yeah, it looks like this. Look how close the mounting holes are to each other.
Oh,
They
that's
basically
dicey.
overlap. So
Wow.
that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is just build a little case for it and shove it on top of the frame, because it's not going to fit in the stack any way I can do it.
VHP.
Yeah. Crazy.
My answer to everything, VHB, it's the best.
Yeah. If you're still in tape land, then it's not like the final product, right? If the answer to how do I install this is get some tape.
Yeah.
It's fair. Tape works.
I mean, until it doesn't.
Yeah.
We're speaking to the man who lost a battery halfway down the field and, had to carry on flying with the other one.
Well, that was on via a proper battery strap. It just decided it was on a quad designed to drop things, and it wanted to drop.
It's a delivery system. Like, wait a minute, I've got 3 cores of a full battery here. Does someone want it? Off we go.
That's the thing. I never thought about strapping a beeper to the battery, because that took me longer to find than I wanted to.
Well, at least the ground's nice and soft.
It's funny we're talking about having to find things because.
Hang on.
Dun, dun,
Hang
dun.
I have
Attention bad.
ready. I've
Go on
got
then.
this lined up. Can I share the Google Maps
Aliens.
of where that is? So we
I
can
mean,
break down what went wrong.
you can, if you zoom in enough and it doesn't like show too much, I guess.
Everything's going
Reported
fine.
weirdo in a cornfield.
Yeah. Cole's standing in the
Yeah.
middle of a cornfield. He clearly wants to be there. That's where he wanted to fly from.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Give us a background, Cole. What happened?
or Jack, do you want to do the honors?
I was ground control.
Yeah, Jack was
My,
Jack was my ground control from he was my
He's just
observer.
common shit.
Yeah, so the video is about to start, so I'll give you a little of a commentary. I was testing out a lithium ion pack on my 5-inch, and as I take off and I'm already at storage voltage, which was
perfect.
concerning. Although I'm only drawing 10 amps, so like the Sony VTC6 cells are rated to like 30 constant, so I'm like, I should be fine.
I seem to remember telling you about this before, how I got masses of battery sag, and you're like, oh, they're rated to 40 amps.
Well, this is on my 5-inch 4S though.
Yeah.
So the 7-inch with lithium ion is totally fine, but
Okay.
this was literally my first test flight with the lithium ion.
You're cooking there. You're going at a decent speed.
I mean, I'm going 50. And at one point I was going like 70 or 80, I think, but basically I go out and I've got fine video. I've got my voltage is fine. It's a lithium ion, so I can definitely go like lower than a lipo. So I'm going out just to where I feel like, okay, maybe I should turn around now. And then so I do this little turnaround thing. And here's the thing, my antenna on my freestyle quad is not very tall, so it's not, you know, way up above. And the lithium ion
How
pack is a
tall is
little
the
bit.
battery?
It's not that big, to be honest. It's
Just
picture
slightly.
4 lithium ion cells in an array. So look, so I turn around, all is well. Wait, Jack, pause it, Jack, pause it. Okay, so I turn around, but look at I'm only 1.15. Oh no, that's round trip. I was only maximum like I wasn't even that far away from myself. I was only maybe like, you know, a few hundred meters away. And so I do the turnaround and I lose a little signal, but I'm fine. But pause it again for me, Jack. So I'm kind of a dummy. Wait, bring it. Oh, you're ruining it. You're ruining it. Bring it back. Okay. So don't play it yet. So, the way that I went out was basically on the right edge of that field there. And when I did that turnaround and then I started getting breakup, I'm like, oh crap, okay, I'm turning around, I'm going home. Well, the home arrow is like a millisecond or so, you know, a few milliseconds like delayed. So I turn around and I'm going, you know, to the left because that's kind of where it was saying home is. Well, now when Jack presses play, I start losing video, but I'm still going to the left, but I'm actually a lot more to the right based on the home arrow. Well, I completely lose video. So I have no video right now. I'm manning the drone thinking, okay, if I go up a little higher or if I fly a little more, I'll get video back. I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to let it down gently. And I do a little crashy crash. And then I ricochet into the cornfield.
Yeah.
But for a blind landing, not bad. Could have been worse.
I like the fact that you haven't disarmed because you're like, no, wait, I can rescue this.
And I like the fact you're calling that a landing.
I mean, we'll put it this way. I didn't just disarm midair. I was like gently letting the throttle down, waiting a little bit. Okay, I don't have video back. Okay, now I'm going to disarm.
He keeps turning on his turtle rather than his buzzer.
Well, because the turtle mode was way louder and way more consistent. It was like,
I mean, it was in there. He walked straight past it as well.
Yeah, I literally stopped right beside it. Like I hear it. I swear I hear my drone. And then I turn around. I'm like, oh, here it is. Turtle mode's still on. And I actually like bumped one of like the sticks when I was picking it up, and I was like, oh, why did it go zoom? I was like, oh shit, oops. But it was a really good thing I had my GPS hooked up. Like basically I was like, I'm testing lithium ion. I'm putting the GPS on this drone. So I found it in like 15, 20 minutes. Jack helped me with the GPS coordinates and we all lived happily ever after. And that was my nightmare Halloween story.
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
If you had GPS on it, why didn't you hit rescue mode? Number 1. Number 2, you said, oh, maybe if I raised it higher, I'd get my signal back. But you did the opposite. So why didn't you do those?
Well, I tried a little bit, but then the thing is, I had no video. So I'm like, I can't punch this lithium ion because then I'm just gonna burn it all to hell. So
I'm gonna take a photo. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna take a photo of what my screen looks like, and then can you text me some feedback whether that's okay?
Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing. So yeah, that was the whole thing. So I didn't want to punch like too hard without video, without knowing my amp draw with a lithium ion pack. So like I like just kind of held it, and I thought I was going up, but maybe I wasn't. And then after a certain point, I was like, okay, no, can't see anything. I am setting it down. And then the other thing, return to home. So very good question, Curry. So I set up my GPS. I used my lithium ion, but I did not set up return to home. Yes, I hadn't set it up yet.
I'm giving everyone free pass to treat him as if I had done that.
Yeah, Jack, that's totally fine, dude. That's perfect.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think I
Well-
cut out the bit you didn't like.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. Basically, all it was like I was like testing out the lithium ion pack, and you know, yeah, I thought, well, you could zoom in a little more maybe. But yeah, there you go.
Tell me
That's good.
when.
No, that's good. That's
Is that
good.
good?
But yeah, basically, oh yeah, there you go. see.
What is it?
Measure distance at the very bottom.
Okay, sorry. Having a
Oh,
Were you
no.
under the impression that the power of nature would amplify your video signal if you headed towards the cornfields instead of going up them? I'm just trying to
Oh,
work
this where
through
you
what was
crashed?
going on there.
No, you're way past it, dude. That first green patch is the cornfield. Yeah. So
okay. Can I zoom? Can I? Am
yeah,
I
it's
all right?
fine. It's fine, man. It's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So the way that I took off, there's a lot of trees that are right beside me on these houses and stuff, and they're really, really big trees. So when I went out
Hang on.
initially, I went out straight, and I had perfectly fine video, but that cornfield thing kind of screwed me up, and then I went too far to the left, and I just didn't have signal anymore because there was like, I don't know, 20, 30-foot trees. Like, oh yeah, you'll see. Yeah, exactly.
It's these.
No, go back to the very beginning of the video. Go back to the very start of my video. You'll see the trees we're talking about.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've messed
It's
up.
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Clear measurement. Sorry.
Yeah. So go back to the beginning, but not the beginning. So yeah. So you see, I take off. Look at these big ass trees that are there, and I wasn't flying that high up. That's the thing. So those big trees. Then there's another whole row of big trees over there on the right. They're all completely blocking my signal. So the moment I go too far to the right, well, I'm screwed. And that's where the cornfield was to the right. You'll see it as I go up. So I'm just going straight. So my signal's fine. Cornfield is to the right. Yeah.
So, hang on. Measure distance.
Measure distance from there and then straight out. If you go straight out from it, you just got to click one other time, dude. You just got to click one more time.
Yeah. Is that cool?
Yeah.
And then as soon as you got here, the tree.
No, I wasn't that far over. I wasn't even that far over.
Here?
Yeah, something like that. Somewhere around there, yeah.
The trees were in the way.
Yeah. Which is really strange though. Like, does that seem odd?
And you found your quad here somewhere.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I find it odd that you're like, wait, I wonder how this lithium performs. Let me just like hoon this out over here where I've never flown before and see what happens.
That's what I said.
Oh, I've flown there before. I've flown there plenty. Well,
you
just
didn't
not
seem
to the
know
right.
where you were going, and you put it the other side of a bunch of trees and went over a cornfield, which is possibly the worst place to crash.
And
It's
didn't set up
well-
return
really
to
good job
home.
of getting it back. I mean, I can't fault
That's
your
right.
like searching abilities because you got it back, but like, why?
Yeah. I mean, I found it in
About
like
that.
15 minutes. I did find it in like 15 minutes.
No, that's bullshit because it took us half an hour to work out how GPS coordinates work and how to type
No,
them into Google.
No, the whole GoPro recording from that flight was only 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it
we're
back,
better
which is
than
great.
what
but
I
it's just
thought
a
we
very
were.
high risk way. Like you could literally have kind of taken off, stood in the middle of a parking lot, and flown around yourself for like 15 minutes to see how the battery performed. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like 10 out of 10, but for absolute brass balls on you. But like
Well,
1
I
out
mean,
of 10 for initiative.
It's not, I didn't
Yeah.
even go a kilometer out. I mean, like, it was a full battery. I'm like, I should be able to fly around. And I initially thought it was battery related, but then I realized I'm just a dumbass for flying out of line of sight. So, yeah.
It worked though, right? So you're onto something, just about.
Yeah. Well, I ended up actually flying that same lithium ion pack at the same place yesterday, just in the soccer field, though, right in front of me. And basically, I got almost 9 minutes of flight time, but I probably could have gone a little longer. But I mean, I don't think a 5-inch 4S build is really meant for lithium ion. It's just like you can cruise with it, but I'm only going to get a couple more minutes compared to like a lipo. So
have you ever tried actually? It's so boring. I've done it before for reviews on a quad that seemed quite efficient, where I've got like 10 minutes from a 1300 regular 4-cell lipo by just cruising round and round the field in circles. But I'm like on like 20% throttle all the way around. And if you're very careful and you manage it, you can go a long time. Have you ever tried that just on a regular battery? Because you'd be surprised how long it would fly for.
Well, when I traveled recently, I was flying my 4S 5-inch quad like that, actually. I was getting, I mean, I wasn't doing it quite as gentle, and I was kind of flying it out. You know, I was actually sending it out a bit. I was getting like 6-7 minute flight times, but like not being that conservative with it. So like not being as conservative as just being, you know, very gentle and flying around myself. But I bet you I probably could get 10 minutes on a new battery if I was to actually, you know, sort of be gentle. Because that's the thing. Like the reason why I'm kind of testing this stuff out is because I'm like, I can't always bring a 7-inch with me. Like how much flight time can I get out of a 5-inch? I can hook up a GPS, no problem. But again, it's like tool for the job. 5 inches, a 4S 5-inch is like very powerful, and it really draws a lot of current. So
but the maximum flight time would be the point when you're actually seeing like the quad was unable to lift the lipo. So it feels like you could almost under lipoed it. Like you could put a much heavier lipo on, get past the point of having sag, and get to the point where it's actually struggling to lift the weight of the lipo. And that would probably give you like maximum flight time. It'd handle like a dog because you'd be carrying like a brick on it.
But where is that point where the extra weight has a detrimental effect on the flight time versus going slightly lighter and getting almost the same? There's this weird little sort of curve that goes like that, doesn't it?
Like he was still on the left of that curve where he could have gone bigger on the battery because he was getting a lot of sag on the battery and wasn't getting a massive increase in flight time.
I would say go bigger.
So I'll show you just for context here. This is my normal battery that I use for my freestyle stuff or for my 5-inch or whatever. And this is the lithium ion that I was using. So they're pretty much the same size. Lithium ion is just like slightly, like they're basically the same if you look at it.
You could definitely go bigger.
It feels like you should get at least twice as much flight time, even on the milliamp hours.
That's the 1300 4S, and you're flying a 5-inch on. So people fly 1800 6S.
Yeah.
For perspective, which would be equivalent to like 2.5 amp hour 4S. Like racers are running 1800 packs now. So I mean, you could definitely go a lot bigger.
This is a 3000 milliamp hour. I mean, I could pull up the DVR and we could see.
But it's about like the weight that your quad can carry, right? So like, what can you get away with carrying? Maybe you can carry a 6000. Like you could put two of those in parallel almost.
Not on a 5-inch though. There's no room for it.
Oh well, and that's a separate
one on top, one underneath,
or one on top of each other, just like double stacked.
Well, here, let me
strap battery A onto battery B and strap battery B onto the frame.
Make sure they're secured and you don't accidentally put one into the cornfield.
Yeah, make sure you don't hit a cow.
I'll grab my DVR and we can take a look. I mean, it's kind of weird because I honestly thought I would be able to get at least 10-ish minutes out of it. I don't know. The lithium ion, you can run them lower, right? So but I wasn't really comfortable dropping them down like too far. Just because it's
what, like 2.8, 2.5, something like that. 2.5.
Yeah.
You could always go to like 3 volts as your safety.
That's what I did actually. I went to like 3 volts, and that was let's see, is this it? Let me see. 6-minute flight time. No, it's got to be the 8-minute flight time one. It's got to be this one. Here we go. All right. So if you guys want to see the DVR, I can show you.
Do it now.
Present. Share screen. Let's bring this window over. Wait, is it? Bear with me here for a sec, guys and gals. Here we go. Okay. Present. Share screen. Here we go. So there we go. Okay. I mean, it's kind of long, but it's like I take off and I'm immediately at like 15 point whatever. I got storage voltage as soon as I take off, which it will hold that storage voltage for a while. But I didn't actually put my throttle on this on my OSD for this one because I took the GPS off. But I mean, it was okay. I will say it was insanely windy as well when I was flying at this point of the day. But I mean, you know, I'm just flying around, nothing crazy, just basically just doing laps, and it lasts quite a while. Oh, some birds decided to go by, so I decided to look at them. But see, now I'm getting to like 14 volts with the 4S. It's like, it's weird because in the end, let's see, I went to like, it says voltage low, 13.6. I've only ran like 1500 milliamp hours out of it. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or what you think. So I've ran 1500 milliamp hours. I'm at now 13 volts. So you divide that by 4. And I mean, like, I don't know. It's just strange. I'm getting up to the 2000 milliamp hour mark. So I probably could have gotten at least a few more minutes out of it, eh?
It helps if you have per cell voltage, to be honest. This type of stuff, especially if you're not used to flying. You don't.
Well, then I land and I'm at 14. So,
like, you could have flown a LiPo down to that voltage.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
you could definitely go further.
I mean, so think about this.
Gone down to 12 and still been at 3 volts per cell.
Oh, so I was at like 3.5 then, or something like that, or 3.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you should have like per cell voltage, just like put the average voltage. I mean, you know what it guesstimates when you plug in, it'll guess how many cells you've got, and then show the per cell.
But that's not too bad though, actually. So about 8 and a bit minutes. So then, if I were to run it to what you guys are saying, I could definitely get about 10 minutes at least. But that's just flying around, like, you know, just flying around like just getting cruising type shots, which, you know what, I actually don't mind flying like this. I mean, I like my freestyling, I like my other kind of stuff, but sometimes it's nice to just go out and just cruise a bit.
Well, that translate into sort of a basic long range out and back if you're doing the sort of same
gentle flight, right?
Same sort of gentle cruisy thing to do that. But not so much if you're like, I'm gonna like maybe go up this mountain and like keep power looping this hole in it and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing is like with 4S and the high kV motors, right? Like it's not efficient whatsoever, right? Like it's not built to be efficient, right? 2400. So like it's not this kind of quad isn't really meant for, you know,
like, you're flying. I think you're used to flying like quite small batteries and quite low kV motors, to be honest. Like people are putting like 2700, 2800 kV on 4S builds. They're flying 6S on like 2000 kV, so 50% more for 4S, right? So we're looking at just shy.
People are flying 2700 milliamp hour packs on a 4S.
Well, I'm just talking about like race builds on 5-inch. You're looking at flying 2000 kV motors. I've got like 1900 kV on 6S. So I think you're already flying like quite a super light efficient quad, and you could definitely put a lot more battery on than you're carrying at the moment. And with a LiPo,
is this considered an efficient quad?
Yeah, it's like a 1350 4S that's a really small pack. Like people fly bigger 6S packs than that, more milliamp hours, but with 50% more cells.
I fly 11. on 6.
1100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I was under the impression that like 4S 2400 kV 5-inch build is not like an efficient type of setup. That's what I was
It's a
under the
lightweight
impression of.
build. Definitely lightweight, and you've gone for like a lower KV.
I'm also rocking a GoPro though, and it's not. Is that considered a low KV for 4S 2400?
2400.
Not that
Well,
high.
maybe it wasn't a while ago, but I've got like 2750 kV motors. I'll tell you that. They're for 4S.
Huh. Well, yeah, and you're right. I am flying like old school type build. Yeah.
I just think you could
Back in the
probably
day,
put a battery on there.
when I first built my
23s.
original quad on 3S, it took off at like 50% lipo, 50% throttle on like a 3S. And these days, when I think I'm really overloading this, now I've put this GoPro and this massive battery on, and it still like hovers at 30%, it's like actually you can shove more on there and it's not going to have that much of a detrimental effect.
Yeah.
You should try shoving some more batteries on that, see what happens.
Yeah, just
'cause
literally
you know
see
what?
how much battery you can put on before you actually struggle to carry the battery and the motors come down hot. And that's the point where you know you've gone a bit too far. But until then, you can definitely add more battery.
Because you want to know the crazy thing is this battery, other than say like another little like a 1100 GNB that I have, these are the only batteries I've ever flown on my 5-inch. Ever. I mean, other than trying out this one, and then like I've literally, I mean, my buddy lent me like a 1550 one before, but yeah, I've only ever flown 1350 packs on this quad, on this type of quad.
Experiment.
It must be pretty efficient then, because what I'm finding with modern quads is like a 1300 4S won't handle it. You need at least 15 or preferably 1800 before, so you don't get as much sag.
Interesting. I'll have to try it out, because that was the other thing I was looking at was I was looking at some bigger lipos, like there's like some 1550s or like 1800 milliamp hour, and they do look quite a bit chunkier. But I mean, I'm going to get more flight time out of it.
It's not a tiny frame, is it?
No, Apex. It can definitely. What's up, bud?
I was going to say you could definitely get a 4S 3000 on the underneath of it.
4S 3000 lipo.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Do you want me to go get it? It's over there.
I mean, if you
have a rummage,
see
what it would look like.
Because you have an Apex.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves.
Blah, blah, blah,
Robert,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
Robert's saying to double my
blah, blah,
battery
blah,
size.
blah, blah,
Huh.
blah,
Interesting. Yeah, this is why it's great to have everybody to talk to, because, like, this is all I've ever known. So I'm like, apparently, I'm living in the friggin' dark here.
I was a small boy from a poor family, and we could only afford little lipos.
Newer props are way more efficient, and two-bladed props are more efficient than three-bladed props.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. He's saying
I guess I'll have to.
Double it.
The only thing is with my 5-inch builds is that I also do freestyle them. So like, it's weird.
But you're either flying long range or you're flying freestyle. So you'd either have a battery for long range or a battery for freestyle. You got to think, like, if you're flying freestyle, you want to be able to like take off and accelerate vertically like a rocket. And you're flying long range, you just don't need to be able to do that. So you can carry a lot more weight, and you don't need that vertical acceleration.
There's very few situations where you would fly 2 kilometers out, find a bando, and then start freestyling it. You just travel to the bando and then do it there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's right. You also have to pick and choose your fights. You're either going to fly. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what you guys said. You're either going to fly long range or you're going to fly freestyle. I guess, like, for me, if I'm going to fly long range, though, like, it's going to probably be with a 7-inch.
For reals, I just buy another one of those batteries and get a parallel cable that can join those 2 packs together and give you a single XT60 and just give it a go, man. The worst is
Are you
that
talking about 2 of these?
buy another one of those. And you can get parallel cable that lets you join 2 packs together. They only cost like $3 or $4, and that's
I could probably even make one. Yeah.
I mean, I've made them as well. But you can buy them pre-made if you're lazy, like just eBay them.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, and then what? Just one on top, one on the bottom, I guess, or
Yeah, give it a go.
That's the easiest way to get the straps around.
Balance it very carefully while you take off.
yeah, because that's actually the one thing too. Like with my 7-inch, like most people that are using the frame that I have, the Rad Lion frame, they're using lithium ion top, lithium ion on the bottom. But I've only ever ran one at a time. But yeah, I got to experiment some more. I got to get out of my
Yeah,
my little
that's kind
comfort
of the joy
zone.
of the hobby. It's not you're not just getting a DJI drone and having the same flight experience that everyone else has. It's like, just mess
Yeah.
around with it, try things, make it your own.
Totally. Where's Jack gone to? Is he back?
I think he's super
He's
spooky.
I forgot what he's trying to demonstrate, but
I think it's something about
He's probably connected the JST lead the wrong way around, and he's just shorted. Back in a minute.
I find it quite annoying that two of my biggest FPV nightmares, as we're talking about this, I didn't have a DVR for one of them, and in the other one, the DVR didn't record. And on both of them, I lost video in the most horrendous way. One of when I was at a meet and I was flying the wing, and I thought I was out in front of me somewhere, but the wind had blown me way behind myself,
oh,
and we were in front of these massive trees, and all of a sudden, and I'm like 2 kilometers away, thinking, I don't recognize this area. This is so weird. Normally, I'd see like a road here or something, and the video just goes completely.
oh
And
man.
I was using the old FreeSky module, and that starts going beep 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 beep, which is like the telemetry's gone. And I flick it to return to home because fortunately I had an autopilot on it. But it's like, and then you wait, and it was about 3 minutes, which seemed like about 4 hours. And all I've got is static here, and the radio's just beeping at me constantly. But eventually, after like 3 minutes, it starts doing 2 beeps, which means telemetry's bad, but it's not as bad as it was. But it was like no video, and then suddenly it's gone, woo, comes over my head, and the video comes back because those trees were that big. And it's like, oh my god! But I didn't. If I could have recorded that, it would have been epic. And the other one was almost the same thing, where we found some low clouds, and like actually low, not like pretend low. So at about 100 meters, we had this cloud cover, and we're sort of flying through these clouds. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. Yeah. And then my display just goes. I say display goes, the camera goes, but the OSD's still there. So I've got nothing
Weird.
but like this AHI like this and nothing else. And fortunately, RTHing to bring it, and then I managed to land it manually, even with my dodgy skills. And the entire plane looked like it had just been through the shower. Basically, yeah, clouds are apparently wet. And if you fly through them, your plane gets completely wet. And this was like one of those old CCTV board cameras, so it got completely soaked and shorted out, and the entire plane is like, you just do this and its water's just flowing out of it.
That's awful.
Jack's back with the battery. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
I had an idea
Wait,
to
that's a
go and-
4S.
Talking
Ah,
about-
because I actually have. That's a high voltage, right? Isn't it? I actually have. I'm pretty sure that's a HV pack. Because I actually have that same pack, but 6S.
Oh shit! It is HV. I've never noticed or paid attention.
That
Yeah.
all that
Just
means
been
is
charging
that,
it normal.
yeah, you're getting like slightly less actual stored capacity, because when you charge to HV, you get the 3000. When you only
Yeah.
charge slightly lower voltage, you'll get like 2800 or something.
But
That's
you'll
why
get
it's
more cycles
suspiciously
out of
light.
it.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
more cycles
Yeah.
than if you're cooking it. For sure.
Well, like, is
Whoops.
it? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because the only reason I know that that's an HV pack is because. Oh. Yeah, because I think GNB, they have that like specific purple sort of like outer shell is the
Yeah.
HV sort of thing.
Yeah, the purple ones they're like the long stick ones, and they're generally HV, you're right. They even go down to the tiny little like 450 size.
I mean, is there any reason to not charge it to the full HV like 4.35
Lasts
or
longer.
yeah?
Last
you're a
way, it's
dickhead
like your
like me,
mobile
yeah.
phone when you're like, oh, you've got this special battery saving mode that just charges your battery to like 90% instead of 100%. That's literally what's happening. Every time you push that voltage up high and give it full charge, you're degrading the chemistry more than if you just leave it closer to storage.
Huh.
Even my Tesla freaks out and says, "Oh my God, you've charged to 100. Don't do that every day."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have brought out the most frightening thing ever. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready?
Oh.
My last drone lab. Here, Tone, take a photo of this. This is a 4S 4000, and it's basically the same size as
4,000? It says 1,800.
No, 18. Yeah, same as the 3,000. Sorry, dyslexic
Yeah.
fuck.
So basically, just
So,
go
like-
large, man. Just start buying crazy batteries.
Okay.
It's doable.
Yeah, I'll have to try that out because the thing is, I do like the way the 5-inch flies, and I like longer flight times with a 5-inch. Yeah. Oh,
I
Used to
know. I
droop.
love that.
Yes, PB
Nice.
says Drone Labs used to droop so bad.
I can't believe I put it in my mouth.
But
That's
you
a
know,
sound
maybe
clip.
they're
that's
maybe
phallic.
they're a vintage lipo now. They've got that cachet. They've matured.
yeah.
The 10 years of seasoning and aging has given them a unique bouquet that no other lipo possesses.
Most of my lipos are vintage. I've got batteries I'm still flying from 2012.
Ooh,
I know it
Wow.
because I write the dates on them to see how
You
they're
sniff
going.
them and go, unique bouquet, leaking electrolytes with a hint of lavender.
This one's on fire.
What the hell?
Don't worry. It's a bit of cardboard behind it. If you're in my insurance, that didn't happen.
Oh, I actually just learned how to kill off a lipo yesterday. My first lipo started puffing up on me really bad, so I was like, I had to decommission that one. Yeah.
Ooh.
And what did you do?
Well,
Hassled me
I-
about it a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And Jack
Walk
said,
up
"Put
to
it
the
in your
balcony
mouth."
and just drop it off.
Well, I tried to discharge it as much as possible, but then the charger's like error voltage below or whatever. It was like giving me some weird error. So,
That's when you got the
Basically-
knife out.
well, yeah, I got the throwing knives and practice my aim. You know, yeah.
I flew this week twice again,
Ooh.
and I got to. All right, you don't need to zoom in on it. Calm down.
Let's see. Let's see the proof.
Yeah. Hang on, I can't fucking find the.
I was just capturing your testimony, Jack. without
Yeah, I know.
distraction.
Oh,
Hang
it's
on
gone
2
into the
seconds.
Jack filing system.
Yeah, I know.
We made
This
the
is,
hairspray
no
fun.
wonder I can't. No wonder I
It's,
can't
it's as
find anything.
efficient
And
as how he
hopefully-
plugs cables in and out all the time.
Shush. Shush.
So
you.
Jack, so
Please.
you've been out flying and what?
Is this the one that was on
I-
Instagram? I wanted to ask you about it.
Yes, yeah, Instagram. I got basically, cut a long story short, Curry, thank you for the tiny whoop. You lovely man. And basically, cut a long story short, I snuck my
Yes.
the whoop in with a transmitter with
You snuck
a
your
set
whoop
of
in?
goggles and my screen, and I flew at Comic-Con.
The one
With
thing I
no
noticed
battery.
about this video is as soon as you took off, it says land. For God's sakes, man. What have you done?
I met Jack afterwards, and I can tell you that his batteries are not happy. See, that's 2.9 volts he's just taken off. I tried to fly that thing, and I jammed it. I succeeded in skidding off a table and hitting someone. I don't know how he managed to fly those batteries.
I don't.
whatsoever.
It's the shortest flight known to man. You could tell it's not good because it. Notice I arm, and then the quad reboots. I left that in here so that we could talk about it.
That's a sign
Watch,
of
look, I
quad
try and take off,
experience.
it reboots.
That is
If we
literally
look at
like
this
I'm
bag, it
so
will
low on
reboot
energy.
from ours.
I've lost it completely.
And it's
That lady,
charged
that lady's
HV
like,
as
"What's going
well.
on here?"
Yeah, I know. Luckily, Terra had no idea like what to actually expect, other than, I mean, I'm sure she's very intelligent, so I think she figured out I'm a moron. But I
The
tried.
big flashing message of land now probably gave her a bit of a hint.
Yeah, possibly. This man should not be flying.
So you had a flight, but it wasn't very long. Was that like the first flight with that battery? Because it's like that's
No,
like
I
left in
bought
salt
new
water,
batteries.
wasn't it?
No, they're my old brushed Whoop
Ah.
batteries that were
I
probably
see.
purchased in 2018, and that's being quite generous. So, Stephen, do you want to see us out? We're running out. We're out of time.
Very quickly before you do,
Oh, go
tomorrow
ahead.
night I'm going up to London and seeing 450 drones fly.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
Expand.
The Alexandra Palace fireworks display, they are doing a drone display as well. So I'm going to go up to see that.
Fantastic.
Very
Well, if
cool.
anyone's in the area, obviously, be sure to prank Frank.
Yeah, exactly. if you want to go and find out more, the URL is fireworks.london because they're cool.
Nice URL.
Not too
Oh, wow.
Get the
shabby.
costume back on.
Oh, there we are. The future of firework displays. Instead of dropping flaming things on pedestrians and passers-by, it's going to be dropping drones on pedestrians and passers-by.
Yeah,
I approve of.
Frank,
Perhaps you can give some
Approve of this
statistics
message.
about how many drones fell out of the sky.
Yeah, I'll
Maybe it's
try and
none.
count them.
Maybe it's some.
I know it says
Frank.
450 on the NOTAM, so that's what I'm expecting.
Ah.
We'll see how
I
many.
mean, they will
uh,
cheat
count.
by dropping the ones and then turning their lights off as well, which makes them a lot harder to see.
Frank, try and talk to them and get an interview, please. Take your Zoom with you and find out what they're running, if it's Ardu or whatever. Please be our
Yeah.
man on the ground.
Gently rugby tackle them.
Yes, ask them lots of questions, please.
I imagine they'll be busy.
Well, after the display, once they start coming down, follow them.
Okay, we'll see.
Follow them back to their secret lair.
Yeah, find out what chips they have. If one drops by you, bring it back for reconnaissance purposes.
Are you
Tell us
going to
what
do?
the
Are you
lipos
going to do
taste
a?
like.
Are you going to do a throw forward to next week as well
With
your-
Be our guest, Frank.
with your costume on?
Next
no,
week we
this
will
is
be
BR
joined.
Heli.
No. Is that next week? The 7th?
The same 32, isn't it?
Next week is AM32.
Well,
Yep.
there you are.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful segue. AM32 will be joined by Ike, who's been on here before, as well as the author of AM32 and one of the new developers there as well. So
Nice.
thanks for the AM32 folks, and we're looking forward to that one. It's going to be a great show. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, next week I will be auctioning my costume off for charity.
Yeah.
Whoever donates the most wins. And I will
Yep.
post this to you. Anywhere in the world. Right, see us out, Stephen.
Breathe. Breathe. Woosah. Woosah. Okay. Yeah, next week we'll be joined by Ike, Alka, Pete, and Andrew Tridwell, who are working on AM32. And there's lots of developments. They've produced a handy new flashing tool, and they are the de facto replacement for BL Heli 32, and they're doing a great job. So please join us next week. But this week, you have been joined by the human ESC himself. Some call him Jack. Luckily, he hasn't turtled, or he wouldn't be able to get up again. Everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Goodbye. Don't show close up.
Our overlord and master. Thank you very much, Frank.
Bye.
Don't move. There's been a safety violation. It's Cole
See ya.
and me. Have a good night, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Someone update me, please.